Yes, exactly. That's how much time I have spent in Canada. So today marks my 1 year anniversary as a Canadian permanent resident. It is exciting, right? But this journey was not so exciting, if I can say that. It was a roller coaster ride, and I'm here to tell you what I experienced in my 1 year in Canada as a permanent resident. So yeah, we are going to go down to details, and I'm going to share all about my journey. And at the end, you can decide whether it's worth moving to Canada or not. And tell me, do you have any plans to move to Canada? You know, when I first moved to Canada from Australia, I had high expectations from this place. It's sad to say, but when I came here and I saw how it is in Toronto, I was a little disappointed. So I had this expectation that it will be a world-class city, but contrary to that, I saw that there is a lot of homelessness, a lot of people on the streets with mental health problems. The city is dirty. It stinks. I'm sorry, but it is just so badly kept, and there are like ghettos over here, which I would suggest to avoid. And also there is the fact that there's no security over here. I mean, you cannot find any police on the highway keeping a check on the speed limit. There are no cops on the roads. There's no kind of security, and the crime is rising. So I felt that this is not a safe place to stay. There's so many crimes that happen. There's so many stabbings, so many assaults that happen every other day. I feel like whenever I'm going out, I have to always look over my shoulder and like avoid people that seem a little dangerous. And it might sound bad, but it's the reality. You can't really go freely without being alert of your surroundings around here. So many things keep happening, and the police doesn't do anything about it. Even if you call them, unless it's a life-threatening situation, no one would come here. And that's a sad reality. And I don't care how many people come and say that it's still better than US. We are not living in US, we are living in Canada for a better security, better place, better job, a better environment, better socioeconomic situation. So you have some expectations, and having security, having cops around here to protect you is a basic necessity. It's the bare minimum a city should provide, and they still don't provide it. I understand their lack of resources, but it's a big problem. You could definitely say that my expectation versus reality gap was so big that I definitely got a reality check that you can't be expecting so much from a city. My first impression of Toronto was that it looks fun, it looks fast paced, but really very soon I realized that it's not just fun. Everyone's running, everyone's like rushing to get somewhere, to get a coffee, to get some groceries. There is no time for anyone to do anything else apart from what they are like focused to do. Everyone is working day and night and trying to make a living over here. So I was a little flabbergasted. I was like, what is happening here? I did not expect Toronto to be like this. And then a lot of bad experiences happened with me in the first week. So I was a little disappointed that I don't know if this was the right decision or not. But then I thought I should give myself at least a year, because when you're moving from one country to another country, it takes a while to get adjusted and get used to the things that happen around here. So I thought, let's give yourself a year, and here I am today explaining what I like and don't like about this place. You know, the first thing that I experienced here when I landed was culture shock, and this is something I had not even thought that I would experience. You know, the people were different, the ways were different, the weather was different, the lifestyle was different, and I was like, okay, I don't know if I'm ready to like have so many differences around me. And another thing that really shocked me was taxes and tipping culture, because I have paid taxes in Australia and they were around 28-29%, but over here it was a lot more. And you have HST that is added on top of everything, and then there is the tipping culture, which I still don't understand. I am very much against like having a minimum tipping percentage. I understand it's inflation and prices are high, wages are low, but that goes the same for me as well. I'm not like earning 100k that I can afford to spend $10 on a coffee or a sandwich and then pay 13% tax and then pay a tip as well. So that is something I still don't understand. I know a lot of people would disagree with me and have their own defenses, but that's just my opinion. I don't agree with such intense tipping culture over here. I think it's still a culture shock to me, because you don't really have this culture in Australia. The cost of living over here and the prices of things are almost equal to Australia, which you would say is not right because the pays are less. So I don't know, that was like a big shock to me. So that is something I'm still dealing with and adjusting by every day. And the last shock that I faced, and I'm still facing, is the hustle culture. Everyone is like in a rat race over here to get somewhere, and people are just surviving. I feel over here people have forgotten how to live life and be happy. People are just like after things. I was having a lot of issues adjusting. Like the first month I was pretty much happy about moving here, that okay, this is nice, but then I started noticing these little things that were problematic, and then it became harder and harder by every month to adjust. I think it took me at least the whole of winter to think that it's not that bad. This is like, I'm just being honest, okay? I don't want to be like sweet and everything and sugarcoat my experience, because it was not a sugar-coated experience. It was difficult, okay? The first few months, it took me a while to get adjusted, but also in the first few months, a few things changed. First, I got a job. It took me about 2 months to get a job. I moved here in August, and I started working in my new company in November. My partner also got a job by the end of November, so we were working, and life was getting into place more and more now, because we had a job, we had a place, we had a stable income. And the most relieving thing about moving here was the fact that I did not need to worry about any more visa renewals. Like, I can't tell you the kind of relief I have right now when I'm not thinking about my visa is ending in the next year or in the next 2 years, and what do I do next? How do I renew it? That is one relief I never had in Australia, and I had this constant thought in the back of my mind that my visa will end and I need to do something else to extend it if I want to stay there. So that kind of relief only comes when you are a permanent resident, and I'm just so grateful and so glad that I got the chance to come here and live here, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I finally have a place I can call home. I can settle down, or even if I don't want to settle down, I have some place to come back to. So that's like the advantage of coming here and living here. That is one really good thing that I really appreciate and I am grateful for. Now at least I can think about like having a home, having a family, doing things that I want, owning a business, traveling more, because I don't need to think about renewing a visa, spending so much money behind just like these visa processes, these formalities. So yeah, I'm definitely a lot more grateful than I was initially. But yeah, there are problems which we will talk about later. However, this is the kind of feeling I am having at the moment, that I'm just grateful. Around then, I also had one of my friends who moved from Australia to Toronto. We met, then we made friends. Now we have a big group of friends. So that's how life changed here. I was thinking that maybe making friends was a lot more difficult, but I don't know, somehow by luck or destiny, we met such amazing people and we are now friends with them. We hang out each week. So life was becoming a lot more easier as the time went by. And I was thinking that maybe it's not that bad, you know. Like the first few months was very hard for sure, as it must be for everyone. But there were good parts too. I had also started traveling a lot more. So as summer months start coming in, all of Canadians like to travel. So did I. I wanted to explore Canada. So until now I have seen Montreal, Vancouver Island, Banff. The major places that Canada is known for. I have seen that all, and it is beautiful. So trust me when I say this, Canada is a place you would love to travel to. It is such an amazing country to travel. Living, I don't know, maybe not. It's like a very personal opinion. But traveling, 100%. This country is beautiful. So that is how life was evolving for me this past year. And I'm just grateful to have such amazing company and have such amazing opportunities of traveling, working, meeting people, and just experiencing new things, new cultures. So yeah, that was the good part. But there were some challenges as well, which I think we should address. In terms of challenges, the first thing that I faced was weather, because this weather, I was expecting, but I was not ready for it. I think I did all my winter shopping as soon as I came here, which is not a good idea. Do your winter shopping around November-ish. November, December, you can still go by with like good puffer jackets, but Jan and Feb are the brutal months, and Canadian winters are seriously brutal. I have actually made like a full video about winter shopping, which you can find here. I have detailed everything you can find on every range, like mid-budget, mid-range, budget, and expensive stuff. You can find it here. And apart from that, I have also made a video about how my first winter experience was, so you can also find it over here. That was something. I don't know if I am ready to face it every year, because no matter how much you try and think that you are ready for it, you are never ready for it, because first 5 degrees feels cold, then it goes to 0, then it goes to -5, -6, -10. There were a couple of days when it went to -20, and I was like, oh my god, how are people surviving here? Then there are so many snowstorms and everything. Oh, just like, remember, Canadian winters are brutal, and you have to come here, you have to survive them. There's something for sure. After winters, one definite challenge you're going to face is healthcare. Okay, Canadian healthcare is free, but it is probably the worst experience you will have. So if you have any issues, any ailments, any treatments that you need to get it done in your home country. Pay some money and get it done with, because when you come here, you are going to be up for a challenge. So in Canada, every family gets a doctor, and you have to go and register for the family doctor, and then they call you for a checkup and everything. It's been 1 year. I have not gotten a family doctor. I'm like in the wait list, but there's no one who is accepting new patients. So you have to wait, and it can be anywhere between 3 months to a year. I haven't gotten one. It's been a year. So I hope I get one soon enough. I've also heard from other people that if you go to emergencies, you have to wait for hours, like 7-8 hours, to even have someone look at you. And apart from that, healthcare is just like, it's terrible. It's short-staffed. It's not the doctor's fault. It's the whole organization and management of this industry, that they're short-staffed. They don't have enough people to see all the people who are there. I think in Brampton there's one hospital for like the whole region, so it's very hard for them to manage because they don't have the resources, obviously. So I don't blame the doctors or the nurses who are working there. It's the government and the policies that need to be blamed, because it's just not feasible. One more thing that you need to be very careful about, and you will be facing, are scams. So when we were looking for a car, oh yeah, finding a car is also difficult. It goes like this. The market is very much in demand. Second-hand cars are very expensive over here, and it's very hard to find good cars at good prices at the time you want. So if you are looking for a car, good luck. But yeah, I'll tell you my experience. We were looking for a car. We went to a Facebook marketplace to a private owner. My partner went and gave a deposit of, I think, $50 or $100 to hold the car. The person was supposed to get it cleaned, fixed up, and then the next day he was supposed to go pick it up. The next day he called up. The person was not picking up his call. And he was nowhere to be found. The ad was deleted or something, or he was blocked, I guess, but this person just ran away with the money. So remember, it's very common here. There are no regulatory bodies to keep a check on these people, so they're just doing whatever they want. Lots of scams happen. A lot of CRA scams happen. A lot of people will try and call you and tell you that you have this holding, you have this fine. Just don't fall for anything on call. If someone's calling you about this, deduct the call. Call up the agency who is calling you and ask if it is a legit thing or not. If a bank is calling you for something, deduct the call, disconnect the call, not deduct, I don't know what's happening. Disconnect the call and call up the agency, call up the bank and tell them that I got a call about this. Is it legit? Is it something that's happening, or it's a scam? Always beware. You don't get calls from CRA, you don't get calls from banks, you don't get calls from any government agencies. They do not call you. Same goes for emails. So be very careful. And one more scam that's very common over here are rental scams. So a lot of people advertise rentals that are not even up for rent, and then they ask you to pay money for application fees, or they say that okay, I'm giving you the place but I need the rent beforehand, and you get the keys by mail because I don't live here. That's super common. Don't fall for that. Always physically see the property, check with the concierge or with the neighbors whether it's even up for rent or not, and do your due diligence and research, because it is very common to fall for a rental scam. Talking about rents, an ongoing challenge of for anyone living here is inflation and rising cost of living. Toronto has been hit with insane rising cost of living and inflation. Everything is 2 or 3 times more expensive than it was a year ago. Rents, groceries, car rentals, just like daily stuff, everything is super expensive. And the problem is that the pays are less and the cost of living is high, so it's very hard to afford a lot of things in here unless you have a good paying full-time job. I don't know how the students are surviving in this economy because it's very, very intense. I mean, it's $15. I saw this TikTok one day, and the minimum wage versus the living wage in Toronto has such a high gap that a person has to work 80 hours a week to afford a 1-bedroom apartment in Toronto. That's how bad it is. So yes, if you're coming here, be ready for the rising cost of living and come with a lot of savings, because it is possible that you might not get a job very quickly as I got, or it might take you a while because of certain circumstances. So make sure you come here with enough savings, because it's expensive to live in Toronto. And I don't know if this is a challenge for everyone, but maybe for me or people who live in South Asia, Sri Lanka, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, tickets from Toronto to all of these countries are super expensive. So it's very hard to save up money and buy a ticket to go back home or go as frequently. I used to go like every year when I was in Australia. Like I went twice a year because the tickets were like $800 return, $1,000, $1,200 return, which is doable, right? But over here, minimum decent flight with maybe one short stay would be minimum $2,000. So that is a big chunk of money, and that's why whenever I speak to people, like half of them have not even gone home after they came here. And now I know the reason why, because it is so expensive. You go there, you spend some money, you have to get gifts and everything, so it turns out to be such an expensive ordeal to just go back home and visit family that it's not doable. Okay, yeah, these were like the good and bad experiences, but there are some things that I love about living in Canada. One of them is food. Okay, the food culture over here is insane. You can find restaurants from every part of the world, and the taste is so authentic. This was like something I was missing always in Sydney. I mean, you would get like a very Australianized kind of food over there, but over here it's very authentic. So even if you go to Mexican places and where you can see that there's something says hot salsa, be sure that it will be hot, because they don't joke over here. The food is amazing, and with food also comes diversity and culture. So I got to spend so many days just experiencing different cultures. So there was like a Chinatown fair happening, there was a very recent South American fair happening, and there was this Italian fest, there was Ossington Fest, where you can like find a lot of people from different parts selling their food. So over here, when people say that it's a melting pot of culture, it surely is, because you will find places to eat, things to do, people, and little neighborhoods specific to different parts of the world, and it is beautiful. If you want to experience culture and diversity, you should come to Toronto. And that's what I love about the city, that there is so much diversity and so much inclusion between different cultures that it feels like you are living in a global city. Another really great thing about Toronto is its location. Travel to different parts of the world which are not like as far as east, but South America, Latin America, Europe, is very cheap and very accessible. I got a flight ticket to Iceland for about $450 return, which was very, very cheap. I'm going there this week. So while you're watching this video, I am in Iceland. So if you want to see what I'm doing, go and follow me on my Instagram. So yeah, that's what I'm saying, that traveling to all of these big parts and tourist destinations in the world is very easy. Toronto has a big international airport and a lot of flights go to all over the world, direct flights as well, so it's very easy to travel. So if you love traveling like me, you would love staying here. And every few months you have a different experience with the season. So I feel, although there are pros and cons of having bad winters, but seeing snow for the first time, seeing that snowfall every other day, it was beautiful. It was magical because I have never seen snow like this. So it's a great way to experience all 4 seasons staying in just one city. And yeah, everything has its pros and cons, but I think I kind of like the fact that you can experience all 4 seasons here. The last really amazing things about here, which actually made me move and made me think that this is the right decision, was the job opportunities and the scope for growth. There are so many opportunities. If you're willing to work, if you're willing to do things, there are plenty of opportunities. Yes, it might be hard to get them, but it is there. So you can go over and over again with interviews. There are so many options. There are so many things you want to do that you can do over here. So opportunities and the scope of growth is massive. I know a lot of people who have gained some experience in Canada, got a permanent residency, and then they start working in US. So that is one more option if you want to work in a different country while staying here. It can be done. And Canada and US, and I think, also have this tax treaty where you can only pay taxes in one country. That is one great option to grow in terms of career and success and money financially as well, that you have so many opportunities. Although Canada pays less, but you get the experience, then you can move to a different country to work, and it's available. So if you're someone who likes to grab opportunities, this is the place for you. You will do wonders here. Final thoughts. Even though there are problems with Canada with living in Toronto, I am really grateful that I got the chance to live here. And if you're someone who are coming here as a new immigrant or as a new student or to work, just remember these things, come prepared, and don't have high expectations. That's going to be a problem, as it did with me. And I love living here, and I'm super grateful that I'm living here, that I got the chance, but I don't think this is a place that I would live permanently. 3-4 years later, I will be somewhere else, and that's how I see myself. There are other people also who love this city, this country, who wouldn't want to leave. Unfortunately, I am not one of them. I really like my space to be safe, secure. I have my reasons to not see this country as a permanent home, but I'm really grateful that I have the opportunity to spend this time, to get a work experience, to get to meet the people, the community, to experience different cultures, and to have been welcomed by a country so warmly. I am grateful for that. I'm really happy that I got the chance to live here. But yeah, maybe it's not something I would want permanently. So if you ask me if it's worth it for a few years, yes, but forever, maybe not. So yeah, that's how my 1 year looked like in Canada. It was adventurous for sure, and it was nothing less than a wild ride, but I'm really glad I was here. I could experience this country, I could experience living here, because it is life-changing, and I learned a lot. I learned to let go of my comfort zone. I learned to meet and understand different people. I learned to be more empathetic towards others. I learned lots of stuff, and I also learned what kind of place I would love to call my home. So I'm really grateful that I am here, that I'm living here, that I could just be a Canadian permanent resident. If you are thinking to come here, definitely do. Definitely experience this country, because it's different. It's gonna be a good experience for sure. So yeah, if you liked my video, if you found it helpful, do give me a sub and a like, and I will see you next week with another video. Bye!